Yeah, that's a really cool initiative, actually. I was very excited when I got your email. I thought
Oh,
this is really great.
yeah,
I'm glad someone is doing it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, my question would, of course, be why, or why do you think it's important?
So when I first started having problems and I wasn't sure what to do, I didn't have an agency to reach out to, and I tried to look for other people that I could speak to.
Mm-hmm.
And all of them were like, we had an agency, we spoke to this agency. So I think
Mm,
if there was like an external person or external organization that helps when you face those kinds of problems, that would be really, really good
yeah.
and very helpful. I met my first family on Aupair World,
Yeah.
and we matched on Aupair World. And at some point when we were still talking to each other, they were on vacation in South Africa.
Mm.
Yes.
Interesting. Like, yeah. Did they have any relatives, or just like this, just like vacation in South
No, they
Africa?
just like to travel.
Okay, that's why you met. Yeah, it's
Yes.
actually like a nice possibility to like to meet, to
Yes.
learn about family first. Yeah.
Yeah. It was,
Um,
yeah, but that first, yeah, it was okay. Like it was a really nice, we had a nice morning together. We had breakfast at a very nice wine farm, and they paid for everything, of course.
yeah.
And yeah, it was nice to meet them in person for a change and to meet their baby, and it was a nice
Hmm.
interaction.
Cool. Yeah, and then you decided to come to them to Germany.
Yes.
Yeah.
With my
Mm.
first family, I don't think they cared about me as a person, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest, because they didn't care about me learning German or not. And they would always say, oh, you're only with our family for my first contract was only for 6 months. So they would always say, you're only with our family for 6 months, and then afterwards, you'll probably leave the country. Or
Hmm.
they wanted to raise their child bilingual as well. So he was
Yeah.
English and German, and they would prefer that the dad speaks to him in German, and I would speak to him in English, and the mom would also
Hmm.
speak to him in English. The complete opposite experience. So they cared about me integrating into the country, and they paid for me to take courses. They put me in situations where I had to speak German.
Mm.
So be like, okay, you need to go drop off the kids at the kindergarten and tell them that the kids are not coming at this time, or
Hmm.
tomorrow they're not coming with this and that. Like she would put me in situations where I would have to speak, or
Hmm.
she would say, oh, you're not feeling so good and you need to call the doctor. Practice with me really quickly and then make the phone call yourself.
Mm.
Like
So
you have to
they,
call the doctor
yeah,
yourself.
encouraged you, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes,
Mm.
she would always encourage me. And at least once a week, I was taking a course, and I also had like I lived close to a university, and they used to
Mm.
have something called a Sprachabend, and we
Hmm.
could practice with each other.
Yeah,
And she would
cool.
always like push me to go outside and go to the Sprachabend. And
Mm.
yeah, I found that my German improved a lot when I was living with them. And with their children, I could always switch between German and English. And
Hmm.
I think most of the time I actually spoke to the children in German, and then with the parents, I spoke in English.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, it was a much better experience. And I think I learned a lot culturally as well. They also put me in situations or introduced me to other people or took me to gatherings or
Mm.
showed me like some things that are like German tradition, like Tanzen den Mai, for example,
Mm.
to
Yeah.
Carnival, and um, experiencing the Christmas markets. Like I spent time outside with them and actually seeing Germany.
It sounds like a family,
Yeah.
much more than a normal like au pair experience. In the first family, you didn't feel like a part of it, or
Not at all. Like, I think with the first family, they made a lot of promises,
Mhm.
and like they got me very excited about moving in with them and experiencing Germany with them. But when I arrived, it was like a very, very different experience. I think I will give them credit and say that there are some things that I learned from their
Mhm.
family, like what a Feierabendbier is. Um, and some traditions that you have in the north, like that weird herring salad and all of that stuff. Like, but I think I didn't spend as much, like I just felt like somebody who was there to watch their kid and nothing more. So
Mm.
when it came to having experiences, or like seeing the city, or like even just having like a recommendation of a nice coffee shop to go with a friend, for
Yeah.
example. Um, I didn't really get much of that. It was like, okay, you're here, you watch the baby from this time to this time, and then afterwards, like you do your own thing. Um, and like, yeah, like my first week with them, they were just like, we're gonna go to the city, you can catch a lift with us and then figure it out on your own.
In
Like,
the first week. Wow.
yeah, my first weekend there, they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, you can just figure it out. You'll be okay. And I think when you have like an adult au pair, maybe you have this impression that they will be independent and they can take care of themselves.
Mm.
But in the very first weeks or months, for example, everything was so new for me, and it was sort of difficult to try and do it all on my own. And
Mm.
especially the language barrier, it would have been nice to have come into a family.
Yeah.
Um, I will try to understand where they were coming from, because the mom was the one who was at home during the week, and the dad
Mhm.
was only home over weekends. He worked somewhere else, like
Ah,
so he
okay.
was always constantly traveling.
Mhm.
So a lot of the times it was just one person who was fully responsible for this baby. And I guess it can get quite overwhelming when you're doing it sort of alone.
Yeah.
And yeah, like just the addition of the new person was probably not the easiest for them either. So I
Mm.
didn't get to experience much with them or have that sort of like family kind of experience with
Mhm.
them.
I didn't like got your schedule. Did you like work every day from 6:30 or only like 2 days a week? How were your working hours?
Uh, in the beginning, we didn't have like a proper schedule. Um, I think in the beginning it was like as soon as I was awake until um around 5 p.m. And but she only worked Mondays to Thursdays. So I was only working Mondays to Thursdays. And then as time went on, like the first week was sort of okay, but by the second week I was feeling quite exhausted because I was like awake at 6:30.
Mhm.
And she would try to start her work early so that she could finish early and then take over. But some of her meetings would be later on in the afternoon, and they would
Mhm.
go quite late sometimes. And then I would have to be with the baby until her meetings were over, for example. So we spoke about it a little bit and decided to shift a bit, like an hour, 30 minutes or so.
Mhm.
So from 7 a.m., 7:30 sometimes, until about 4:30 is when I would be working.
But it's
And
nothing like
sometimes,
six. Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry.
so sometimes if if she would have meetings a bit later, then because you have the person in your house, you're also a little bit more flexible. So yeah, she had a very unflexible kind of mentality, and I would just work until she was finished with whatever meeting she was in.
But did you know about this 6 hours a day that you are actually allowed to work?
Yes, yes, I knew
But
about it and we spoke about it, and then she was like, yeah, but you only work like 4 days a week, so
doesn't,
technically
yes,
we're
technically, but it doesn't matter. I
yeah.
mean, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, it was yeah.
Yeah.
It's
No, I actually I wrote down like some things that you said in your video. Also, this one with the uh, now you know what it's like to be an adult.
oh God, yeah.
Yeah, like because you're so tired or something. And I mean, if she's mother herself, she knows how hard it is to be so many hours with a child, with a like baby or a toddler. Why would she say something like this? I mean, is it not okay to be tired? Um,
No. We had this idea. I mean, the dad would also say it a few times as well. I think they had this idea that like looking after the baby, or like yeah, it was just like they saw it as not doing anything.
you also said something that they expected you to be like at home and be available if they need you.
Um, they didn't say it in so many words, like you need to stay here and always be
Yeah.
here. But sometimes they would like, I remember this one day was actually really funny. So I do my own hair. I braid my own hair usually. And on this one day, they wanted to go on a date, but they never told me what time they want to go on the date. And even after asking so many times, like,
Mhm.
what time are you going on Saturday or Sunday? Because they never specified that either.
Yeah.
And like maybe a few minutes before they were leaving, they texted me to tell me we're about to leave for our date. And then they knocked on my door and pushed the baby in my room. Like, bye, we're leaving now. And it wasn't always like said that, oh, you need to be here all the time and you need to be
Mm,
available for us. They just did things like that. Like, yeah, like I would be chilling in my room. It's been a long day. I just want to lie down and watch some
mm.
Netflix. And then they'd be like, yeah, this baby needs a wash and he needs his diaper changed. Here you go. Or
But
like
it wasn't like during your working hours,
no, it would be outside of
just
the
like.
working
Mm.
hours. Yeah.
And how did they kick you out? How
Yes.
did it after how many months and how did it happen?
So I was there February, April, May, June, July. So after 5 months, I think exactly today, actually, this happened on
Oh,
the 26th of June. Yes.
a year ago? Wait,
Excuse me?
was it a year ago? A year ago?
Yeah, exactly a year
So
ago.
okay, so we can celebrate it today.
Actually,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Cool.
well, on the 26th of June, it was in the afternoon after the Beyonce concert, I think.
Mhm.
She we were having lunch, and after lunch she just sat me down and said they want to talk to me about something. And of course her husband decided that he's not going to stay for the conversation, and he just went away
Mhm.
somewhere else. And she sat me down and she said like she at the moment she feels like she's not spending enough time with her son, and
Mhm.
she feels like she's missing a lot of his milestones, and yeah, with working all of these hours and stuff, and it's difficult for her. So she decided that she doesn't want to work so many hours anymore. She's only going to work 2 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
And since her mom likes to come to the house at least once a week, they will make it in such a way that her mom is there to help her when she needs to work.
Yeah.
And that means that she won't need an au pair anymore. And yeah, she was like, yeah, but you seem so unhappy in our house anyway. I don't think it's going to be a problem. I was definitely unhappy for sure in
Mm.
their house because of how isolated, and yeah, that's a different part.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just tried to keep my head down and be there and like take care of her child the best that I could. But then after that whole incident with the not knowing when she's working and please let me know,
Mm-hmm.
all of that stuff, um, she said to me, did she say exactly? Like she was asking me about how I've been feeling and my experience and how like integration into Germany and all of those things. And then she was like, yeah, you know what? Um, why don't you leave actually?
Mm-hmm.
And in that time when her husband was away, she, I don't know, decided that, or not decided, she felt unhappy with my presence there. And she felt like they do a lot of things for me, or they gave me a lot of things, and I don't appreciate them enough.
Oh
And
yeah.
that since I don't even seem so happy in their house, I should just leave. And she told me on Friday in end of July, and she was like, yeah, you can just leave on Monday. So on that day, she was like, yeah, you seem so unhappy here, just leave. And then I was like, okay, fine, I'll go. I said to them like I'm gonna stay until then, and then like until this time, like
Mm-hmm.
sometime in August. And then she was like, no, actually, I don't think so. Go, you can go now. You
Mm.
you don't seem to appreciate the things that we do for you, and yeah, you can leave.
And was it a relief for you, or more like I forgot the word, like a decline? Somebody would decline you,
Like a
or
rejection.
rejection? Yeah.
Um, I think I think I had those feelings in June when they told me that they don't want me anymore. Like, yes, I was a little bit, I was definitely unhappy, and I was just like, oh, I just need to get to the end of my time with them and
Mm-hmm.
then do something else.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wasn't expecting them to be like, okay, goodbye, you can go now.
Mm.
So that really it threw me off. Like it was like a big shock and a big
Yeah.
surprise. And it also felt like two different feelings. Like on one side, she was like really happy to get rid of me. And she was like, yeah, why don't you go? And then on the other side, she was like, oh, we do so much for you. Now my husband is not even here. He can't even say goodbye to you properly. And all of these things. Like it felt really weird. Like it felt like they wanted me there, but they also didn't want me there
Mm.
because of the contradicting things that she would always say to me.
Like it's very common to for host families to feel like they're doing very like a charity thing, you know,
Mhm.
like for like this poor girls from this third world countries, and we are
Yes.
really helping them,
Yeah.
and we are like doing like almost like they are victims of something,
Yeah.
like, you know,
Yes.
it's like yeah, it's crazy that yeah,
Yeah.
this is this is really common. So they like more the feeling for themselves to be like those nice and powerful people or something, I think. Yeah.
I agree with that actually. I
Yeah.
have to agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. But it's nice that how it turned out with your like with your or how it worked out with the second family um and like um, you were afraid to rematch because you thought that you could that this is still okay family and the next one could be worse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Okay.
always, yeah, I was very afraid. Like, I was afraid that if I go to another family, yeah, maybe they do worse things. Like this family was okay. They didn't make me clean. They didn't make me do laundry. I didn't have to cook. It was nice for me to cook at least once or twice a week,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't make me do any of those things. Like it wasn't my responsibility. So physically and from the outside looking into the house, everything seemed okay and perfect. But I think a lot of the problems were like some of the things that they would say to me, for example, or like the smelling my underwear thing, like that those
I know that, yeah, this is like a harassment.
yeah.
Like it's so not okay, and it's not funny at all.
Mm-mm.
And I don't think that you can feel safe in this place, staying with such a creepy guy,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yes.
things he said, like wow,
Yeah.
it's not okay at all. And that his wife is all she just she was silent then, right?
Yeah,
She
like
didn't say anything
she didn't
about it.
say anything about it. The only time, well, she didn't say anything about this either. So it was three separate incidents. The first time he made a comment about my butt,
Yeah,
and she was also sitting right there, and like I didn't hear what he said, and she repeated what he said. And then the second,
right. Yeah,
yeah. And the second time was the underwear situation, and she didn't say anything about it. And then the third time, he said something sexual again, and that was when I was like, this is making me feel uncomfortable. I'm gonna go. And that's
yeah.
when she was like, she said something. Like,
Okay.
I can't even remember, like she didn't say anything to him, like or say that his behavior is inappropriate. She just said, "Oh, I'm so sorry for my husband." Like it was,
Mm,
yeah, I don't know. Like in that situation, it's not even like, yeah, I guess because they're married, she felt like she needs to say something.
mm,
But I think that was the moment where she could have said, I don't think that was very appropriate, sweetie. Like you should
mm.
have said that to her, or maybe they did have a conversation together afterwards, but yeah, like it's not her job to say sorry on his behalf. He should be able to
Yeah,
see
that's
that
true.
this was wrong
Mm,
and then apologize for himself because he's a grown adult.
yeah, yeah. And what did you say? If you can say it.
Excuse me?
What did he say?
He didn't say anything.
No. What was this about? Like this third
I
thing?
can't exactly remember what it was, but it was something that made me feel uncomfortable, and it was
Okay,
something sexual. I just can't remember exactly
okay.
what it was that he said. Yeah.
So it's like multiple times, and like
Yeah.
not just like once, or okay, like you would think, okay, this is something about your butt. Maybe it's not so sexual, and then this other thing happens, and then this other thing happens, and you just like,
Yeah.
if your feeling is wrong, it's like almost always, yeah, this is wrong. Like your
Yeah.
feeling is totally right. If you
Yeah.
feel uncomfortable, then he really did something.
Yeah.
Oh.
And like there was also a thing of, I know like a lot of Germans are very body positive and they're okay with like walking around in their underwear or naked or whatever. And I mean, from time to time, he would walk around the house just in his underwear. And
Like only with only one piece on him. Not like for swimming or something. This is not okay at all. No, it never happened to me in my two
no,
families. No, like it's
yeah.
I don't think it's about body positivity. I think it's in a purpose to make you feel uncomfortable, and this
Mhm.
is some like kick for him.
Yeah, I maybe could be. And he would
Wow.
always like
Yeah.
if you I remember I spoke about going to the sauna for the first time, and
Oh
this
yeah, this
was
is also a very strange experience in
this
Germany.
yeah,
Oh
this was
yeah.
like a big culture shock for me because
Yeah.
I've
Did you know
never
it before
seen.
or?
No, I did not.
Oh, you was okay. You weren't aware of it.
No,
Yeah.
I remember walking into the Taman and I was like, why is there a naked person there? And the person I went to the sauna with was like, oh yeah, you have to go into the sauna naked. And I was like, no.
Mm,
And I spoke about this experience with my host family. And I was saying like, oh my God, I didn't know that you have to go naked to the sauna and stuff. And then
yeah.
my host dad was like, yeah, but it's just the body. Like, why are you being such a prude?
Oh
So he
yeah.
always saw it like that. Like he was just like people who can't embrace nakedness or can't see a man in his underwear, you're being a
Mm,
prude because of that.
I know. It's really like yeah, border crossing. I don't know how you can like not
Yeah,
border, but
like a
okay.
boundary.
Yeah, like a boundary. Yeah,
Mm.
right.
Yeah, he did not
Ah,
have boundaries.
yeah.
Not boundaries, no.
Yeah. And you were their first au pair, right?
Yes.
Do you
Yeah.
know um if they have had any au pairs after you?
Not that I know of, and I honestly hope not.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I
But
felt
you don't have any contact to them anymore. Yeah.
anymore. No, like
Mm.
I would have liked to because I'm interested in knowing how their kid is doing and how far he
Mm.
is and if he's talking, like how
Yeah.
much he's talking and all of those
Mm.
things. But yeah, I think it's for the best that I keep my distance.
I wanted to ask you, what do you think about this au pair program in general? Like, would you recommend it, or do you think there are some improvements to be made, or like, yeah, would you do what would you do differently?
Oh, okay, this one is a very tough question.
Mm,
I think there's definitely a lot of room for improvement for the program, just because, like in Germany, for example, you're expected to, I mean, they don't say it's work, they say you are exchange, like, I don't know, like,
yeah, it's a cultural exchange program. Yeah,
yeah, but
it's not work, it's not a job.
work at all. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
But you are like you're having this cultural exchange with the kids for
Mm,
30 hours a week. That's almost full-time work, actually.
mm,
Like it's just 10 hours short of full-time. Um, I don't know. I think I have like two sides of how I feel about the program as somebody who had like a bad experience with the program, obviously.
mhm, mhm.
I think the first part I would say like the negative thing would be it's sort of like a program that's marketed as like a cultural exchange that's like you'll get to do this and that and whatever, but it borderline exploits young people. Like you're in a situation, I mean, I think even sometimes it can be negative for the host family as well, because you never know the kind of person that you're getting. But speaking from an au pair's perspective, you spend so much money to come here to begin with, and like the compensation is not really fair. Also, depending on the kind of family that you end up with and what the children are like. I mean, sometimes you could end up with a family that's like, this is the sort of rules that we have for our kids. This is the discipline that you are allowed to carry out as an au pair or whatever. And then there's other families where they'll laugh about their kids biting you or kicking you or slapping you around or whatever. Like, I've had multiple friends actually who have told me that the children were racist, or the kids would like hit them, would bite them, would kick them, would spit on them, and the parents would, in the beginning, the parents would be like, no, don't do it and whatever. And then after a while, the parents would be like, maybe it's your fault. Maybe it's because you don't understand
Oh, yeah.
German and you can't talk to the children. That's why they're treating you like this or whatever. And I think because you are living with a family and they've given you a roof over your head, they're the reason why you're in Germany. A lot of them feel like they are doing you a favor, like you said.
Yeah.
And they always feel like you have to do what they want all the time. Like, if they want you to be available to take care of the kids at 6 a.m., you will be available to take care of them at 6 a.m. because they can always just drop you and find somebody else or kick you out. The benefits of it, of course, is the cultural exchange. And if you are meeting other au pairs, you're not only getting the German culture, but you also pick up little things from your other au pair friends and different countries that they come out from. And if you do make good friends, then you have more countries that you can visit and more free places where you can stay. So yeah, I think I have some mixed feelings. Like, if I had to choose if I would do the program or not, I think maybe I would be more careful with how I choose my family. So yeah.
Yeah, in your video you said you should have asked them other questions than you asked them. So what would you ask?
So I actually made a whole video about like possible questions you can ask
Okay.
families.
Like from your videos, it looked like this family was quite wealthy. Would you say they were wealthy people? Yeah.
Yes.
But sorry?
They drove a Tesla.
Okay, yeah. And how was your room actually?
Yeah, it was nice. It was a really nice bed. The bed was really nice and comfortable.
And where was it located in the house?
Directly opposite the baby's room.
Okay. And the like master's bedroom, where was it?
Like on the opposite side of the house.
Okay, so you were like there where baby is.
Yes.
They weren't hiring a nanny, but an au pair, and they paid you just like this normal pocket money. There's no like extras to it.
The only extra that I got was they paid for my, no, they did not. Well, technically, yeah, they paid for my Deutschland ticket.
Okay. Yeah.
So that was nice.
Yeah. And your German course? Did you have any? No, you haven't got any?
With them, I didn't take a German course. They didn't think it was necessary for me to take one.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, but thanks for sharing. Yeah, it was really very interesting to hear your story and your opinion on things too. Yeah, I wanted to ask, what do you do now? Like this full part job? What do you do?
I'm working now as well, my official title is wissenschaftliche Mitarbeiterin.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm working in a lab now at a clinic I'm in Bavaria, in Bayern.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. This is an upgrade after Aupair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
When
to
I
me,
got
it was like, yeah, this like, yeah, suddenly you're not in Aupair anymore. You don't need to iron things. But like in my case, I started my master's, and you're like just straight away to in a science. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. It was so like it was very sad when I left my second family. Like I cried a lot. It was very emotional. But then I moved into my own place.
Oh yeah.
And all of a sudden it was like, oh my goodness, I don't have to wake up and make a lunchbox anymore.
Yeah.
I don't have to make anyone's bed anymore. Like
Yeah, you're on your own. Like
yeah,
totally free. Yeah, I know this feeling. It's incredible.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's more quiet. Like
Mm.
like there's no screaming.
No
There's no
screaming children. Yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
it's very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.